Hey, it's Cappy from Always in Stitches. Peter's behind the camera. Say hi, Peter.
Hi.
He's got his really fun Nassau Bahamas shirt on that his wife went on a cruise and she brought him t-shirts. I mean, how nice is that wife? She also brought him a cool watch, I hear, but we haven't seen it yet, so we're going to have to see that. Anyway, I digress. I'm really excited because we did a YouTube video, I don't know, a couple weeks, maybe a week ago, and in it, I said, hey, what would you ask Moda if you wanted to ask Moda questions? And you asked questions, and then I didn't know the answers. And so I contacted Lisa Alexander, who is in the marketing department there at Moda, and is the most delightful lady. And she was gracious enough to look through the questions that you asked on that YouTube video in the comments, and she emailed me back the answers to your questions. So we're back in my office area, which is catty corner from Peter's desk, and he was desk shaming me, weren't you, Peter?
No comment.
No comment. Because we have this, you know, when you have those coworkers who you dearly love, but some of them are messier than others. And Peter's desk is notoriously one of the areas that is very creatively filled with interesting things.
It just seems to catch everything.
It does. And everybody walks by and coughs at his desk, and so he has to yell, contagion, and stuff. So usually my desk is very neat and tidy. However, there was a little accident in the corner, and so we've been fixing that, and so anyway, so my desk is a mess, and he's like, we're gonna video back here. I'm like, yep, there it is. Here's my lunch. I had Panera for lunch, if anybody wants to know. I love their Asian chicken salad. And here's my little nuts and blueberries because I'm trying to be healthy. Anyway, so just disregard the mess around me, but listen to what I have to say. This is from Lisa Alexander. Hello, Lisa Alexander at Moda. Thank you for doing this for us. So I'm going to answer these questions, and if you didn't care, then don't watch. But these are interesting. They really asked good questions, didn't they, Peter? I mean, I was kind of
and I believe somebody won because of their answer.
I do too, because they asked a good question. So I'm going to tell you the answers to the questions. If you want to go back and watch the video, it was the motivation video. When we came back from motivation, I brought you all this really cool stuff that we're working on, and I'm still trying to finish quilts. But here you go. Here's what we've got. So one of the questions was, what are some of the most surprising or unconventional sources of inspiration for your team designers have used when developing new fabric collections? And it says, inspiration can strike in unexpected places. I've seen a designer send a printed paper plate. Can you imagine using a paper plate for colorway and print inspiration? I get that. I've got some paper plates back here right now. Look at this. It's so funny she says that. See, this is why you have a messy desk. See, look at this. Look at this. Is that, I mean, really, I get it. So there's a paper plate that could inspire a colorway. Isn't that fun? Okay, I get the idea. Of course, we have many antique fabrics come through for inspiration, but other vintage items like wrapping paper, sewing boxes, wallpaper, postcards, and other ephemera can also be very unique and feature wonderful designs. We even have a designer, she doesn't say who, but we have a designer who cuts shapes from construction paper and layers them to create her playful motifs. Wonder who that would be. We also had a designer send their favorite nail polish shade for color matching. Isn't that fun? Yeah, we did have a conversation with Stacy Eastview when we were there, and she talked about where she found her inspiration. And she had what's called a color board, or a inspiration board, where she just tacked things to it. You could maybe call this my inspiration board. I mean, I got some fun things up here, but yeah, you know, my corner of my world inspires me, so. And I think that's cool. I think when you see something you like, there's a reason you like it. You either like the colors or the style or the mood or whatever. Clip those things out, put them together. It might help you figure out what you want to design too. Okay, that was one question. Another question, can you share a behind the scenes story about a fabric that didn't go as planned but ended up becoming a customer favorite? She said she didn't have an answer for that. I think I kind of understand because, you know, you don't want to shame anybody or anything. But I'm sure there's fabrics that don't go as planned, and yet they do end up. I know for us in the store, so many times we'll have a bolt of fabric, we're like, well, this is the ugliest fabric, and y'all turn it into something beautiful. So I think to use the words favorites and thinking about how things are planned, part of our creative ability is to make things interesting, even when we don't see that they're going to be cool. So sometimes creativity doesn't go as planned, but what you get in the end ends up better. So I'll kind of tag with that one. I get it why she couldn't answer it. Okay, then the next question was, how do you balance innovation in textile design with sustainability? It's a real good question. And what steps are you taking to reduce environmental impact in your production process? It says digital printing is definitely the most environmentally friendly process as it uses less chemicals and water than conventional printing. So that's interesting to know. However, our mills work hard to ensure clean practices in all aspects of their facilities, including high-tech water filtration. Our mills are OECO-TEX certified, ensuring they are tested for harmful substances and produced in an environmentally and socially responsible manner. And that's a very good question. I think we are becoming more socially conscious of what happens to the environment, and the process of creating fibers traditionally has not been a good use of water, our water resources, and chemically there's a lot that they do. Matter of fact, Peter's got a bucket of sugar on his desk right now. That's what's it called? Turbinado sugar. And I'm like, why turbinado sugar? And then I learned out today, it's the chemicals in white sugar. So we're all healthy back here. They do half of what you ate. Okay, so good question. I think, Moda, I'm sure, is doing all they can to be conscious of that environment issue, but it is what it is. To get what we want, sometimes they have to do some things, but it sounds like they're really trying to make it socially responsible in a good way. Okay, then she asked, do we have Indiana licensed fabric? She said, no, they do not. And I know licensed fabrics can be confusing for people. There's people want Disney, or they want schools or colleges and things like that. That gets kind of complicated because of copyright laws. So there are some companies that do carry college fabrics, and Disney will sometimes release fabrics to certain companies, but I know a lot of times they're expensive because of copyright. I know the Indiana fabric that we had for the Indiana State Shop Hop that's going right now came from Quilting Treasures, and next year's fabric for the state of Indiana, I don't know what company will get that contract, but I know the fabric companies like to get the contracts for those all-state shop hops because it's a lot of fabric to sell. So licensing of fabric is an interesting thing to think about. Okay, and then how many designers work at their company? That was a good question for Moda. It says our design department works with over 50 designers, including creating fabric lines in-house as well. So that's a lot. That's why I can't have it all in the store.
That is a lot. I didn't know it was that high.
Yeah. I'm just not reading these. We didn't even read through them, Peter.
That's like 50 pretty faces.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, that's like having 50 employees and they all are creative and have wonderful ideas. I mean, wow, we've got 25 and have amazing ideas in our staff. So I can't imagine having 50 people being able to do that. That'd be fun. Okay, then the next question was about 108 backings, how to decide the designs and why some collections have them and why some do not. I'm anxious to hear the answer to this. It says our minimum order for 108 fabrics is much higher than a 45-inch wide fabric, and we are only able to offer a selected variety of options. We do not see demand or sales to be able to sustain printing much more, but try to offer a few with each release. This decision is based on designers' popularity for sales for the most part. Typically either very big and elaborate designs sell best or very simple or tonal prints. Now that's a curious thing because we carry quite a few widebacks from a lot of different companies. I do like the Moda widebacks the best. They have a really nice hand to them. The gray goods that they print them on are really a good quality. So very simple and tonal prints work best. She says like grunge. We love grunge.
Grunge is amazing.
Grunge is it's my new base. I just have everything in grunge. I just have to.
Grunge is awesome.
It just always goes with everything. Thatched, another big favorite.
Thatched is amazing.
That's a Robin Pickens design, which I love. Speckled, another one. We've got some canvas coming in with speckled in a few months from Ruby Star Society.
Oh, the Ruby Star Society speckled.
It's the best.
That's cool stuff.
And Magic Dot, of course, Magic Dot,
Magic
which is
Dot.
printed on grunge.
Magic Dot is really cool.
It is, and if you've worked with grunge at all, you get like two fabrics in one because the back side of grunge is a solid and the front side of grunge is the print. So I love having grunge fabric in my stash because I know I get two pieces of fabric out of one. And if I need a solid or if I need a grunge, I've got it either way. So I use the wrong side of the fabric quite often. Okay, they work well with a large variety of collections versus a main floral that may be specific to a line that's in it. They're hit or miss, she said. An elaborate large-scale watercolor design like our gradients, fabrics, or Create Joy splashes florals sell better. So, you know, they're just trying to make good decisions for us so we can get everything. And then, is Deb Strain, this was the last question, is Deb Strain the only Moda designer that designs by pencil and paper without a computer? And it says, she said, Deb still does hand paint all of her designs, and so does, here's a couple more designers for you, Janet Clare and Laura Muir of Create Joy. I could have guessed Create Joy was hand paint.
Yeah, Create Joy.
Because she's a watercolorist, and so there you go. That's first of all, thank you, Lisa, for taking the time to answer these questions for us. I kind of threw it out there without thinking about, oh, how am I going to get the answers to these questions? Which is typical to form around here. We kind of just go with what sounds fun. So thanks for Moda for answering our questions. Thank you for asking these questions. And I don't know what to tell you. Don't ask me anymore because I don't know the answers to them. But it was kind of a fun thing to get the email from her and for her to take the time out of her super busy day to answer our shop in Central Indiana and your questions as a consumer. So, and you got to see my messy desk with my fun plates. This is a hint of something that's coming, by the way. We're going to have a luau in the shop July 1st. So if you're in around July 1st, put it on your calendar. We'd love to see you. So that's all for now. This is a bonus video. Those of you who've been complaining you don't get enough videos, here it is. And I hope you're having a happy, stitchy day. Bye-bye.